So now we are entering into third step in risk management process, which is A. A stands for analyze, which is analyze of information. So the purpose of this step will be to identify and evaluate the risk. Okay, therefore we can analyze the risk through 3 stages. First, we need to identify the risk first. Then we measure the risk, and after that only we evaluate the risk. So let us start with identify the risk. So in this step, what we are trying to do here is to make a list of all the potential risks that may affect clients' financial situation. So how can we achieve this? Okay, information was already captured in step 2 just now. So it would have been identified by now through the process of discussion with our client. Okay, the physical observation, including the physical of the person, the lifestyle, the surrounding or the environment of the working area or the home, and then we could also have identified this through the fact find form. So the occupation of our clients, the health condition, the lifestyle, and through verification of documents, the current insurance coverage. So then we can understand what have been covered and what other risks that the client may be exposed to but is not covered yet. Okay, once we are able to identify and list out the risks, then we will have to measure the risk. Okay, so how do we measure? Since we are doing financial planning, so we are measuring the quantum or the monetary size of the risk identified. Okay, so why is this important? Because we will need to know how much is needed to cover the potential financial loss in each of the risks identified. Okay, if let's say there is no financial loss, it is not part of our financial plan. Okay, so we need to also match the resources available to the risk, and it need to be affordable. I mean, our strategies or our plan or any products that we can recommend, it need to be affordable and feasible. Okay, and perhaps after our observation, our information gathering, we may have a long list. Okay, it's good that if let's say we can have everything covered, but at most of the time, the resources available are limited. So we may need to decide which one we need to take care first. Do we want to take care of the largest amount first? Or perhaps you want to take care of the event that with the highest possibility of happening. So, which is why after listing or identify the risk, we need to measure the risk. Okay, after we measure, then we have to do evaluation. Okay, so evaluation involves determine the significance of the risk and its potential impact on clients' financial positions. So in step 2, we already calculated the quantum on the monetary size. So now we need to determine what are the resources available. Okay, assets or money. Okay, so when we evaluate the resources available or determine the resources available, okay, normally we will look for 2. Okay, one will be the cash, or the second one will be cash equivalent. So what are cash? What are considered cash? Bank savings account or any bank's account, life insurance or EPF. But even though all these 3 are considered cash, but they are not considered cash in all situations. For example, in the event of death, life insurance and EPF are considered cash because with proper nomination, the family can access to this fund almost immediately. It's liquid. But if let's say in the event of property damage, we cannot utilize life insurance and also EPF. Okay, and the same thing that we have discussed earlier, in the event of critical illness, only portion or part of EPF is considered cash. Okay, so the second part will be cash equivalent. So when we say that it's cash equivalent, means it's almost like cash, but it's not exactly cash. So normally, it is not as liquid as cash, but it could be converted into cash in a very short period of time, maybe in a period of a few days or few weeks. Okay, and it must also something that can be converted without much difficulty and without much loss on the value. So example of such cash equivalent would be like unit trust and shares. Okay, we cannot utilize it as cash immediately, but we can sell off our unit trust unit, and it normally takes maybe about a week to 2 weeks time, and it will become cash available. However, not all risks need to be managed, and sometimes it is not that we don't want to manage, but maybe because we don't have enough resources to cover all the risks. So, which is why it is important that we must be able to evaluate and decide which one we want to take care first. Probably we may want to take care of the risk that may have largest financial impact, okay, or maybe we want to take care of the risk that with the highest chance of happening or highest probability of occurrence. So in this, I would suggest that we can use evaluation metrics which cover probability of occurrence and potential impact. So I will divide it into 4 quadrants. The first quadrant will be the risk with low probability and minor financial impact. The second quadrant will be high probability but also with minor financial impact. So the third quadrant will be low probability but severe financial impact. And the last one will be high probability with severe financial impact. So this is the quadrant that we may want to take care of first. So the one with high probability with severe financial impact. Then the second one that we want to take care of may be the one with low probability but severe financial impact as well. Next, only we take care of the event that with high probability but with minor financial impact. And the one that we may not need to address will be the one that with low probability and minor financial impact. Okay, so this is important, especially when the resources are limited. If let's say we have an ample of resources, a lot of resources available, then it will be easier for the planning. But when the resources available are not much, then our planning may be constrained. Okay, but at the end of the plan, we should also highlight what had been handled and what has not been handled. Okay, so because at this moment we may not have the resources, but in future we may have the resources, so we can keep it for future consideration. Okay, so to summarize the third step of analyzing of information, we have discussed about identify or list out the risk, okay, measure the risk, evaluate the risk. Okay, so these are all important because we need it to match the risk management plan with resources available.